Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to day 2. We are back at the brightly lit table of reviewing Genesis to take a look at more devices. And today, we shall have a mouse extravaganza. What I have for you today are 2 different mice, plus a story of a third one, which I wanted to show in the video, but I realized I've already thrown it away. So, well, we're gonna start with the first of 2, and that would be this, the Mesa M72 wireless mouse. So here's the box itself before we get into it. M72 wireless mouse, right? Your typical mouse with a receiver. So yeah, the box doesn't really tell you very much other than the fact that it is a wireless mouse, nanotechnology, whatever that means. And yeah, it's wireless, which is really the big thing you want to care about. Not too much of interest here, even though it claims to be 80/1200 dpi. So it seems to imply that there are multiple DPIs on this mouse. I do not see a way to actually switch them. So I have no idea if that claim was actually correct. So here's the mouse itself. I should mention that I got this mouse for free. Some time ago I got a laptop. I have done a video roughly about this. Yeah, so I asked for a free mouse and it gave it to me. This is the mouse they've chosen. And there's some interesting things about this mouse. While it does feel, quite nice in the hand, the size is good and portable, one interesting thing is how it actually manages power. Now, this, like most other, wireless mice these days that are cheap, there is actually no dedicated power button. Compare this to, say, this old Logitech mouse that I've just dug out of a box somewhere. Well, it has a power button, right? You can actually switch it on and off. And what that means is, when you're done using, you can switch it off to conserve power. This isn't a thing anymore for, a lot of these newer mice. What this means is the mouse itself needs to have some smarts to basically figure out when to be on and when to be off. And while most mice do it the easy way, that is, if you haven't used it for a while, say 5 minutes, it goes off. This mouse, however, takes a slightly different approach. How you can tell is for those mice, you can just press a button and it will wake up, but look how much pressing I'm doing here, nothing is happening. As it turns out, it relies on the USB connectivity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually bring out my laptop in a really unwieldy manner, and I'm going to just plop it here so that it's kind of within frame. Now, here's what's going to happen. I've got USB ports here. Okay, it's a bit further back. Here it is. I'm going to plug it in. And watch how the moment I plug it in, of course the laptop is on, the moment I plug it in, the mouse actually comes on. So I've actually had to press a button to sort of wake it up, right? So once it's plugged in, it switches on. And watch, when I pull it out, it goes off immediately. So there is some cool mechanism in this that basically checks for the presence of the receiver. Of course, it will only see the receiver when it is powered up. So yeah, this is a cool battery saving measure, right? I'm going to put this down. I'm going to try and not press a button to wake it up. Right, and let's see, there you go. See, it wakes up by itself. So this is a cool mechanic. This is something that I don't see in a lot of wireless mice. So this is supposedly some sort of battery saving feature. However, what I realized is that, well, the batteries actually don't really last that long within this mouse. So I am using those zinc chloride batteries that I talked about in yesterday's episode. These that are not really designed for electronics. So that might be one reason why, but I realized that leaving it powered up in my bag actually causes it to, well, drain the battery really quickly. I'm talking about having to replace the battery after about a week of idle time, which isn't really that great. It may be because it's actually getting pressed in my bag and it keeps trying to search for the receiver, but regardless, that is one con of this particular mouse, and that is something you'll want to look out for. So that has been the Mesa M72. I actually bring this out, when I go to classes. This is the mouse I actually bring with me. Let us now talk about the mouse I use at home, and that would be the Alcatraz Air mouse. Now, I got this for $5, and well, that's actually a lot cheaper than a lot of the wireless mice out there. But yes, this is $5. It comes in a box like this. Well, from a brand called Alcatraz, which I'm noticing more and more. They seem to make things at very reasonable prices. And yeah, today we're looking at their Air mouse, which of course is a wireless mouse, designed to look very much like a gaming mouse. This is the one I use at home, and it's actually fairly unremarkable in terms of what it does. You know, it takes one AA battery just like the Mesa, and yes, I have powered it using the zinc chloride batteries that I've mentioned yesterday. But yeah, this one doesn't have those smarts. Basically, you press a button, right, it wakes up for a couple of minutes, and yeah, it does its thing. Oh, okay, so in this case, it actually goes off after a while because this isn't connected. But yeah, it actually does go into a power saving mode. It does actually switch off even when this is plugged in. So yeah, I would say this mouse is considered, you know, quite typical in terms of what it does and how it works. Obviously, it feels nice in the hand. It's mostly the same size as the Mesa. In fact, let us compare the two side by side, right? It's, yeah, very similar, but this sort of looks a little bit more stylish, a little bit more like, you know, a nice gaming mouse, despite its very low price. I've never seen a mouse, a wireless mouse, go for this sort of price. So yeah, no major complaints about this, right? It clicks nicely, you know, it scrolls nicely. But thanks to the fact that, you know, it's not as elegant with the power saving, I'm not quite as big of a fan of bringing it out. And plus it has all these weird shapes, like this bit is actually a little bit sharp. So I'm kind of worried that it might actually snap off in my bag. So yeah, this one I tend to use more at home with, you know, just my laptop. Since I have two separate devices now, one for work, one for home, well, we just have one mouse on each. So yeah, here are our two mice for the day, plus a little story that I want to tell about a third mouse that I wanted to show you, but I realized I had thrown away. So this third mouse is actually really dodgy in a sense that I bought it from, you know, just a random corner shop. It actually didn't come with any packaging. It's literally packaged in a transparent bag. It cost about $10, and after 2 weeks of use, the scroll wheel stopped working. It literally stopped mid-scroll, right? I was scrolling halfway and I felt a little snap, and after that the wheel was completely slack. I actually opened up the mouse, you know, with the thought of salvaging some parts inside, and turns out the little spindle that connects this scroll wheel to, you know, the rotary encoder that basically keeps track of your scrolling, that spindle broke. Right, because it broke, the wheel just spins freely, and yeah, you can no longer actually control the scrolling. So I guess that is a little word of warning for buying, you know, cheap, unnamed mice from weird corner shops that come in clear packaging. Go for something with a nice box. I think both of these are pretty good. Again, this guy is the Alcatraz Air mouse, and this is the Mesa M72. While I got this for free, I will look up the actual price and put it on screen. Both of these are actually fairly good choices. You know, despite the battery drain issues with this guy, if you use proper alkaline batteries, it shouldn't be as much of a problem. So yeah, turns out you can get wireless mice for really cheap these days, whereas maybe 1 or 2 years ago, you're easily looking at something that is 10 plus or even close to $20 if you want, you know, an actual wireless mouse. So yeah, that basically wraps it up for today's episode in our 5 review week. I'll see you tomorrow for our next review. Until then, you're watching 0612 TV with NERDfirst.net. Thank you very much for watching. If you like my work and are feeling generous, you can shoot me a one-time donation on PayPal or sign up for a recurring one on Patreon. Of course, you can simply like, comment and subscribe. You know the deal. For more videos, links to my channel and a related playlist are on screen. Thank you for your support.